Брифінг за подіями на сході України. Ми маємо пам'ятати про те, що відбувалося тут в Києві, на цій вулиці, на цій площі, на Майдані Незалежності рівно рік тому. Зараз я до слова хочу запросити пана Василя Базіва, він є автором роману «Армагеддон на Майдані», та Серхія Верbytського. Він є рідним братом Юрія Верbytського, закатованого активіста Майдану. Юрій Верbytський був одним з перших жертв тих подій. І ці люди зараз презентують роман «Реквієм. Армагеддон на Майдані». Прошу до слова.
Доброго дня. На Західній Україні.
Good afternoon. In Western Ukraine, there is such a Christian tradition, a custom that in a year, those people who left us, they are remembered, and as they say, as we say in Galicia, we give out a year, and we mark a year. And here, a year has passed after the events that shook and turned over the world. I believe that Maidan, Ukrainian Maidan, a year ago, that's the main event in the 21st century. There is nothing more important of scale, of meaning on the planet during this 15 year of this century. Nothing happened more important or more importance. Here, the speakers told you what is happening. And it's clear, it's interesting, but what does it mean? What's the content? What's meaning in that? We don't have a clear idea. We are not thinking. We are not understanding what's here, even in a radius of a kilometer, where there was a center of the international history, world's history, because on Maidan, people who became victims, they outlined the vector development of the humanity, and that we are not going back to the dark ages. That's not a metaphor. That's a period after the breakout of Rome Empire was, and there was a collapse of the evolution of humanity, civilizational collapse, and then the humanity climbed out. There was a period of Renaissance, and then there was a development of civilization. Now we are on the threshold of a new collapse. This novel, this is the first fiction novel. There are a lot of books, but it's a book about Maidan. I called it Armageddon on Maidan. I believe that what was happening, it has an international dimension. That was a crucifixion of a collective Jesus, and one of the first Ukrainians who gave his life who was crucified as savior. This was my countryman Yuriy Verbytsky. He became a prototype of the main character in my novel. There were demons and angels. There were Cains and Abels. And never during the last period of people's history and postmodern, there was no such a bright opposition between evil and good like it was here a year ago. Two heroes, a hero and anti-hero. Yuriy and Lviv, they say Yurko, and also Yuri, and in Donetsk they say Yuriets. Yuriy is Ukrainian intellectual, humanist, and loves mountain climbing. He was not able to sit on his sofa and came over here, where 2 million of Ukrainians on the 1st of December 20 for the Yuriets, and he was in the same cell in a prison of Rud. That was a nickname of Yanukovych, who was in a prison 2 times, and that nickname is given to the guys in prison, to inmates who steal from their colleagues. So they come and they meet on Maidan. These both characters, Yuriy, practically opened. He became the first of Heavenly Hundreds, and Yuriy, he is still with us. He survived, and what Yuriy will do on this earth, I will write about that in the next book. But my conceptual view, we have a Putin here, and Rud Yanukovych, and in 2007 I made a movie, Criminal Occupation, on YouTube. And I thought that what was happening in Ukraine, that was a criminal occupation of European state, organized by Donetsk criminal group and the Party of Regions and Rud Yanukovych. Those they are not politicians; those are criminals, recidivists, repeated criminals. And because of logic of criminal thinking, it was clear that they will not stop. They would not stop, and they would kill peaceful Protestants when there would be a threat to their dominance, and that's what happened. And Armageddon continues. Now it is called differently. Now it's Debaltsevo. Tomorrow it will be something else. But bifurcation, the struggle at the point of bifurcation continues, and the humanity will collapse, and there will be a pullback of civilizational development, like it was in the 12th and 13th century, or there will be a new renaissance, and it will be opened by these sacred people who washed these cobblestones with their blood. This is what I wanted to tell you, and all the rest will be in my novel, in which I put these contents in these formats. I put that into fiction. So let's meet on the pages of this novel, and because we are far away from understanding completely what was taking place here and on this square kilometer of where humanity, the issue or the destiny of humanity was solved here, and Ukrainian people became a messiah. As to the prototype of my main character, then I read that Leonardo da Vinci was trying to find people who would from whom he would write, who would paint apostles. So Yuriy, on his paintings, Yuriy Verbytskyj is such a person. Even visually, you could paint icons of him, and I believe that he did. I did minimum, and I made maybe not a real person like he was, and I didn't know him before, but as a myth, as a canon about him, I hope he will go into eternity through this novel. Maybe his brother will say something to you, since now it's a year he lives on this planet without his brother.
Thank you all. One journalist asked me once, has the year passed and does the time cure? No, it doesn't cure, but it teaches us how to live with that. Coming here for the first time, and first time I read Vasyl's book, it was back in August, and coming here knowing that it will be about that. I read it again just to freshen up all these fragments of the book, which are connected with Yurko. it's more like a literature character, because Yuri was just a man. He knew how to be joyful, how to be sorrowful. He had his own understanding about what is being done. Very often when we were walking the dogs on the stadium, we would just talk about what it is, why is it so, and what could it lead to, how could it end up. And the argument when Russia says that Maidan was sponsored by Americans, we understand that that was just a bluff. There was no sponsorship like that. Everyone was going there because people understood that something bad is taking place. This is evil, maybe such an evil, and if we do not react to that, then there will be no way back. And many people, even without knowing what will it lead to, were going there and were becoming the real participants of Maidan, but not the Metras-type revolutionaries. I cannot talk as well as Vasyl can, so this is it. Thank you. Thank you, Vasyl. Thank you, Serhiy. Do you have any questions to the speakers? I have one question to you, and most probably to Serhiy. What should happen in our country so that you know that the life of your brother and the lives of others who were killed here, that they were killed not in vain? I believe that we all know what should happen in this country. This country, like Vasyl was saying, should take the correct vector and go there, go to the civilized place, so that we live like people should live, and we shouldn't forget those who were doing it, who made it, and who we all owe to. When a year ago, when the blood was shed here, when common citizens of the state with some wooden shield and with a stick were stood up against the army, that was the army, internal troops, and the army was criminal. All the criminal world, all the criminals, titushki, they were not sportsmen, they were criminals. This whole army was mobilized. The state law enforcement bodies and the special purpose troops and the security service, and they were shooting at people in peaceful time. If anyone would say that a year will pass and no one will be punished, we wouldn't believe that. We would say it is impossible, and we're saying it now. It is impossible. The crime and the punishment. These are the eternal algorithms since the times of Dostoevsky. At least repentance. Which one of the party of regions of this criminal organized band formation, those who were killing people in the middle of the day in peaceful time, who of them had repelled? They are now in the parliament. They have to commit suicide, just like Judas did. And all of them should leave. But this didn't happen. And because there's no repentance, no punishment, the evil rules. And it continues there in the Armageddon, in its second part, in the land of Donbass, in the zone, which cherished this band formation that occupied the whole of the country. If you just think who Putin is fighting against, he's fighting against Donbass. Just our people from central, from western Ukraine, they killed there, and peaceful people. That is the war of Donbass with Russia. I see the sense that if the punishment and if the crime is not punished, then evil will continue, and there's no explanation why these law enforcement guys, why they are not in the prison. There's no explanation. Not enough arguments, not enough blood, not enough deaths. What else is needed? I believe that's sabotage. Thank you. Eternal glory. Our working day is over. The briefing that was announced for 2 o'clock of the Minister of Energy and Coal Industry, Volodymyr Demchyshin, is cancelled. Tomorrow we start at 9.